Hello, my fellow Game Warriors. My name is Game Warrior, and today is Final Thought Friday, a video series in mine in which I discuss either important topics that are in the news or things that just matter to me. And today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be giving my final thoughts on marijuana. Marijuana use, legalizing pot, and just a whole spectrum of things with that. Now, do note, when choosing this topic, I'm not exactly pulling it from the weeds. I mean, recently the news has been ablaze with this topic, left, right, and center. Legalizing it here, trying to ban it here, harsher penalties, getting people free that have done it, and a whole lot of stuff. And when it comes down to marijuana, there are really three sides to the argument. There are the pro-marijuana people, point out their so-called facts that it's less harmful than cigarettes. No one has died from it, but thousands of people have died from alcohol. It's proven to help people that are in pain from cancer or whatever it may be. It isn't known to be that addictive, and yada yada yada. Then there are the anti-pot revolutionists. Those are the people that don't want it. They say it messes with the responsiveness and reward centers of the brain. It makes people lazy, makes them more compliant. They argue that it is addictive, and that people are harming themselves as they are using it. And then there are the third group of people, which is, I would bet, where the majority of people, in at least America and probably Canada and Europe and other places lie. The third group of people believe that they are neither for it nor against it. And that is where I have been for the past few years. That has been my viewpoint on it. For most of my life. So I want to go ahead and say now, because as the way I'm going to title this video, there's a high chance that somebody in my family is going to view this. So I want to go ahead and say now that I've never smoked marijuana, never drank alcohol outside of maybe a wedding one time, and it was only wine. Never smoked cigarettes, done any drugs, and I've chosen this to be a part of my life. Even when I turned 21, I doubt I'm ever going to be a person to drink alcohol on a regular basis. Doubt that's going to happen. Part of that is my upbringing, and part of that is because I know that if I start on something, alcohol, drugs, whether that's marijuana or whatever it may be, I strongly feel that I would become addicted to it, addicted to anything that I start. To put it simply, to kind of give an explanation for this, I know that I'm the kind of person that would really get hooked if I ever started. I form habits too easily. If I go to McDonald's for dinner, the only thing I ever get is chicken McNuggets. Hardly ever anything else. I don't even want fries, just the chicken and a drink. If I go to Hardee's or Carl Jr.'s in some places, the only thing I get is a hot ham and cheese sandwich. If I go to Taco Bell, I know the only thing I will ever get is chalupas. And this is just because I develop patterns. Basically, once I start on something that I enjoy, I will do it forever. And whether it comes to something simple as that, as ordering the same meal every time I order at a restaurant, to driving the exact same way to another city, even though a faster way is opened up with an interstate that just came near our town. It's patterns. Heck, I even sleep the exact same way every night, and I know this is really strange, but the only way I can sleep is if I'm facing north. When I go to sleep, I have to be facing north or I can't fall asleep. I know it's weird and strange, but that is just a habit that I have built up, and with this habit, I know that I don't want to get involved with drugs because then it will become a part of my life. Now, when I was in high school, and probably even now, to be honest, I could have gotten any kind of drug I wanted. It wouldn't have been hard. For those of you that don't know, Southern Indiana is kind of filled with meth heads and other druggies, so they're around. And in high school, one of my better friends smoked marijuana, it seemed, every weekend, if not every night. He would come to school high, look it, sometimes even smell it, and he would go about his day, and normally he wasn't different than when he wasn't high. He was himself, with or without the drug. We hung out, we were friends. And through him, my thoughts on the drug changed a little bit. Before, I thought, marijuana was as bad for you as LSD or meth or other drugs like cocaine. But when I saw him doing it throughout a few years of high school, it wasn't a big deal. And after a while, I saw nothing wrong with it. We were friends, hung out in school, went to each other's houses, did everything people did. He brought up the subject to me a few times, but as a whole, he really knew that I just wasn't into it. He never smoked around me, never brought it into my house, as I kind of basically demanded because I knew I'd get the death sentence from the parental accord. So and we were cool. We were cool with that. But then things did start to change. After a while, for him, it no longer became the weekend thing, and it became more obvious that my friend was doing it more and more often. People knew, our teachers knew, though they couldn't do anything about it. And in senior year, my last year in high school, for people that might not be aware how that works in America, he wasn't truly affected, but you could tell that some days he just wasn't 100% there. He was still him, still had the same attitude, and just way about him, but you could see it on him, or at least in some way, somehow, I could tell that there was something off. Then one night, my senior year, he called me up, asked me to come over with another friend that was already there, actually, and just to hang out for the night. We started the night out outside of his house, broke down some boxes and crates with a sledgehammer, and started up a small campfire thing in a fire pit in his backyard. We were close enough to the house still. We pulled out the TV with an extension cord, hooked up the Xbox, and that night we were going to, play some Xbox, eat some food, watch some movies, just kind of hang out. And about an hour or two in, having a great time, some people from school that were his friends, not mine so much, acquaintances, I guess, not enemies, but not friends. You have those people in your life, too. And in the phone call, they said they were coming by with some pot if he wanted some. And he said yes. And the moment pot came into the conversation for him and for the other friend, everything else didn't matter. The games didn't matter. The food didn't matter, which is strange because I kind of thought that was a pot thing. And the movies didn't matter. That everything didn't matter. The people stopped by, and while I was there, they started to smoke. And I sat there. They turned on Netflix on some movie, but didn't have the audio high enough to really hear. They were sitting, hardly not talking, making jokes here or there, but not too much. And while they were doing it, they barely seemed alive unless they were taking a puff. And to me, sitting there sober, not participating, because I like I said, never done it before, I, for the first time, got to see what the stuff did to you. And in a way, I can say that it mellowed them out, that it made them feel, I guess you could say, at ease and calm as can be. And in some sense, I can see the appeal to that. I'm a college student. I worry about my grades every single day. I have to worry about my future, getting a job, moving out, finding a new place to live, and setting myself up for the future. And I'm stressed out of my freaking mind sometimes. But no matter how bad I get, I never plan to do drugs. That night, about 10 minutes after they started doing what they were doing, I bugged out. I made some excuse about running home, and then I'd be right back. And when I ended up going home, I waited about 10, 15 minutes, and I called them back. And I don't even remember what I said, but I made some excuse of why I couldn't go back. And that night, I left my video game and controller at their house for about a week before going back to get it. But after that, me and the kid, we were still friends. Admittedly, though, I didn't hang out with him as much outside of school after that. So, as I'm wrapping this video up in some form of conclusion, I do have a few final things to say. And firstly, to those of you out there who say marijuana isn't addicting, you aren't fooling anyone but yourself. You can get addicted to freaking Twinkies if you eat enough of them. And that night when I saw my friends snap to attention when they heard something about someone coming over with pot, you could tell in their eyes they were addicted. As soon as pot was mentioned, they lost all control. And I would have to say that marijuana isn't the worst thing out there for people to consume. Cigarettes and alcohol are worse for you. You're more likely to die from drinking 5 beers or smoking a pack of cigarettes a day than if you smoked a joint or two every night. And there are the benefits for legalizing marijuana. You legalize it, you can get taxes, you can set the age limit. It's easier for people to get marijuana than it is alcohol if you're underage. And with the age limit set, you could set the penalties and change that. But my final thought for this Final Thought Friday is really this. I believe that marijuana should be legalized. It should set to be regulated and taxed just like cigarettes and tobacco. It's really just like prohibition. People will break the law to buy what they want. With marijuana, it just makes sense to legalize it because the pros do outdo the cons that can occur from its use. And in the end, people should be able to smoke pot if they choose. However, though I believe it should be legal, I believe that smoking it is wrong. I do not claim to be you to be a sinner if you do it, or a horrible person for doing so as my alarm goes off. I just disagree. You only have one life, and you only get to live it once. You know, YOLO, that thing. I believe life is an experience that must be felt in its highs and its lows. There will be moments when you will be hurting, when you lose someone you love, or watch something you have created fail. You will have the times in life to where nothing is going on. You're floating in the middle of a stream. You will scream at times of boredom, shake in times of loneliness, and you will laugh in the times of happiness, feel alive in the times of love. You will be overjoyed with the emotions of life. Life is meant to be lived. Because you suffer through the bad, the good only feels that much better. I choose to live my life without my perceptions being altered. To me, smoking pot is changing your perspective. It is mellowing out your life, making things simple. Drugs, from pot to alcohol to whatever it may be, alters your perspective on life. If you feel you need your window onto the world to be open, closed, or changed, then do as you want. Who am I to tell? But I choose to suffer. I choose to laugh and to love and to cry. But mainly, I choose to live out my life in my own way because life is meant to be lived. I choose to live it my way. Guys, that is my final thought for this Final Thought Friday. If you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, subscribe to my channel, but most importantly, have a good day.